Hey there, this is Bob Nalbandian with the Shockwave Skull Sessions podcast and the Inside Metal documentary series. Just want to let you know you are tuned into Poppitt's Corner.
Serious is I don't think you might hear the same song twice in one day. Mostly the tunes that are like on heavy rotation and stuff like that. But like Ozzy's Boneyard, it's a great station, dude. All they fucking play is Sabbath and Ozzy, which is it's not a bad thing, but you know, open it up a little bit. And I can't listen to liquid metal. Because, dude, I swear to God, if I hear fucking one more band fucking vomit while they're singing, I'm going to fucking shoot myself, man.
What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. This is episode 3 of Poppitt's Corner. How you been, man?
I'm fantastic. Looking for the L and the R.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. I have the legendary Angelo on my show right now. I'm pretty stoked
I don't know how legendary I am, but I'm stoked to be here with the...
Got to talk into the mic, my man.
I'm stoked to be here with the up-and-comer in the metal world here. Actually, I shouldn't even say up-and-comer. You've got a couple of albums under your belt, so you're pretty well established with the metal crowd. So that's pretty awesome.
Thank you, man.
So I'm stoked to be here.
Oh, thanks very much, seriously,
absolutely.
for the opportunity. If you don't know Angelo, I'd be really shocked and saddened. He's been in a bunch of legendary bands that we're going to get into. So pretty much I'll run through what the show is about. Yeah, you don't want to break the top there. He's trying to figure out how the water works, how the water bottle works there.
Oh, I love it. I love those new...
It's cool, huh?
Yeah, because the tops and the rings don't end up...
yeah, it's...
on the ground. Yeah, it kind of keeps the bottle intact. So anyway, enough about the economy and recycling. Let's get back to the metal.
Can you hear yourself okay in the headphones here?
No, I can't hear myself at all, but you know what? It doesn't matter because I can hear myself.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try and turn it up
as
much as I can. So hopefully you can hear.
Perfect.
Yeah. So basically, what the format of the show is, and I've come to realize this, and I haven't really seen a station do this or a show do this. Have you ever? It's like a kind of like an actor's inside the actor's studio kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where literally I'll go through your entire discography and I want to talk about each of the records you made and insight and I can grab from you and what you remember, sights, the smells, all that stuff.
Right on. Well, unlike Aerosmith back in the 70s, I wasn't doing a ton of blow, so I pretty much remember a lot.
Sweet. So at least he's still
other than the few senior moments that I might have, just because I'm getting old and the memory's kind of crap.
You can cuss on my show.
Okay, all right.
Fuck yeah, you can cuss on my show.
Because the last time I was on the radio with you, we got in trouble for cursing.
No. This is my podcast. This is my show. Anything goes. So
right on, man.
Yeah. So that means you can smell, is what you're saying, because you weren't doing a bunch of coke. I gotcha. It's a good joke. So we're gonna start from the beginning of your career that I could find. If I don't have it right, please step in and fill me in. You were and still are in a band called LSN. In 1986. So the beginning of your journey now is 1986.
So 1986. Wow, what a time! I had just moved back from Las Vegas. I wasn't living there very long. I was only there for a couple months, but went to Las Vegas and just kind of hung out and partied and ended up coming home when I ran out of money. But I was actually even in a band when I was in Vegas. I was hanging out at this little music store, and these guys walked in and they put like a flyer up on this this big bulletin board. So I walked over it and it said that they were looking for a bass player, and I went, "Hey, I'm a bass player." And so we just kind of chit chatted for a little bit and ended up jamming with them for month or two, however long I was actually in Vegas. It was so long ago. I could say it wasn't long, but ended up doing a demo tape with them, and I guess what they were trying to do, I guess the local radio station was having a submit your song thing for a compilation disc or whatever, and we recorded a song and submitted it, and I have no idea whatever happened with that song. Yeah, just kind of like one of those trippy things, you know. When I ended up moving back to Southern California, I just kind of like lost touch with everybody and stuff. But yeah, I guess LSN would be one of the first bands of my career. Actually, to go back just a little bit before LSN.
Please, yeah, inform me and the fabulous listeners and watchers on our podcast.
I was in a band called Predator.
Right, I have that on my list.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what year that was.
Was I in Predator after LSN? Holy crap. I need a timeline. God damn it.
I have a timeline here. I just don't have a date for that specific.
But no, LSN was pretty rad because Greg Chikalovich, the guitar player and main songwriter, was also in Vermin prior to that, and I was a big fan of Vermin and kind of roadied for him, I guess you could say. You know, I was at all the rehearsals, and I used to say, "Dude, let me be your roadie," you know, just kind of one of those type of things. So I just, you know, kind of hung out with him. And when Vermin split up, kind of everybody went their own ways. Greg, he did a couple things. You know, he had a couple projects. Well, I know that LSN is in direct relation to Vermin because we played the songs that he wrote.
Don't even worry about it.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? He had written some of the songs in Vermin, so he took those songs that he wrote and then wrote a bunch more, and then Vermin was born. I wasn't the first bass player, however. It was actually Dennis O'Hara, the original.
We'll get to the next project.
Throughout this whole interview, you're going to hear like a little interchanging of musicians throughout this thing, but so he was actually the original bass player, and then after he left, George Robb from Agent Steel he played bass for a while. I came in while George was still in the band, so we did the dual bass player thing for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a couple shows because George plays with his fingers. I use a pick, so there was a little bit of differentiation in our tone, in the way we had in our attack, and so on. So it kind of worked. It was almost kind of like I played rhythm bass, you know, and it just kind of it worked. You know, it worked. We always wanted to do it. We always wanted to try to get it back together, but I know George is living out of state now, and it just never really came to fruition. But LSN ended up getting back together. Say probably about the time I got back from Europe with Hyrax, and I just thought, wow, that you know, putting that band together that I was in 25, almost 30 years ago would be pretty epic, you know. And the fact that we were able to get, you know, Mike Chacon, you know, the original drummer, and Greg and myself, you know, and kept a 3-piece. It's pretty badass, you know, being a bunch of 50-year-old men playing songs that we wrote when we were in our 20s.
Fuck.
It was pretty cool.
The fact that you could still even do that.
You know what?
Years later
I mean, honestly, just my fingers don't work the way they used to, so it's hard playing that fast. So I do notice that we kind of slow them down just a little bit. You know, maybe
drop tune it because
yeah, well, you know,
not
maybe maybe 240 beats per minute instead of 350. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That's still fucking fast.
Yeah, no, LSN is LSN was a big part of my life because I think at the time musically it helped shape me, kind of developed me into the paths that I ended up taking in my musical journey. But I loved LSN. LSN was like I said, a big part of my life.
What does it stand for? Exactly.
Loud, senseless noise.
Well, there you have it. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, first
Just
time
loud,
ever. I
loud,
couldn't find
senseless noise it's too many syllables, so LSN just kind of flew off the tongue.
I know. I was trying to figure out what it meant on the internet and couldn't located. So I figured I'd just ask the main source, figure out what it is. So
that's it, man. That's it. Yeah.
So we're gonna So I don't know if Predator is after or what, but I'm gonna go next to Uncle Slam. Because not many people know the legendary Uncle Slam. This man was
okay,
a part of.
So, if we're doing the timeline, Predator would have been Predator.
Okay.
Which was awesome.
What year, if you don't mind me asking?
Predator was probably 86, 87.
And this is obviously before Easy Prey, like the legendary album cover that everyone seems to know with the
Easy
the dude
Prey
and the chick on the beach or whatever.
Yeah, Easy Prey was already out when I had joined the band, and God, it was Danny. Can't think of his last name. He was one of the guitar players. Jeff Prentice was the lead guitar player and singer, and a cat named Rich Rowan.
Okay.
Was playing drums, who went on to do some stuff with Beowulf, and he was in LSN when I joined LSN. Mike Chacon had actually taken a little bit of a hiatus from music at the time. Mm-hmm. So Rich Rowan, my drummer from Predator, was actually in the band when I joined, and then Mike ended up coming back not too long afterwards, but. Predator was kind of an interesting band.
What was the scene like back then, if you don't mind me asking?
What was kind of weird, because when I auditioned for Predator, that was the first time that I had ever auditioned for a band that had actually had an album out. So I was extremely nervous, thought I was going to completely fail miserably. And so they, I met with the guys, they gave me like a demo tape, and they said, hey, learn these 3 tunes or whatever. And I learned them, and I went in and nailed it. And they asked me to join the band right on the spot, which was completely not what I was expecting, because I thought I was just going to be fucking up left and right, just like I was so nervous. But no, they were super cool dudes. I loved being in that band. Music scene was good. It was good. Clubs like the Waters Club, what they used to call it, Dancing Waters back then.
Country Club, I'm assuming.
Country Club, Fender's Ballroom, I think, was still around. Yeah, Fender's Ballroom was still around, because I know we never played there, but definitely saw a bunch of shows there. But the scene was great, and that was a great thing about going to metal shows. From 82 to 87, 88, is there were fucking tons of people.
Fuck yeah.
At shows. Always. There was always a line to get into clubs, and this was for metal bands, sucks. Well, no, I shouldn't say it really sucks, because, hair metal, went on to dominate the scene, through most of the 80s, and I should say the LA scene. But it was great, because all it really did was feed the need for thrash metal or speed metal or whatever we were calling it. There wasn't thrash and death and speed and this and that. It was just, you were in a metal band or you weren't in a metal band, So it was kind of great, yeah. So basically, the Motley Crues and the Rats and the Poisons of the world, were now playing all these clubs that a lot of these metal bands were playing at. So it just kind of pushed us into these underground clubs that just seemed to have more of a following, because it wasn't cool to go to the Roxy or to the Whiskey anymore and stuff like that, because like I said, that's where all the hair metal bands are playing. We were finding little dumpy places like Cathay de Grand and Madame Wong's and just God, I can't even think, the Waters Club obviously, and there was a few other little places around that were like staples. This is where you went to go see metal bands play. So yeah, the scene was great. The scene was thriving.
Good. Okay. So, let's get into it. So after Predator became Uncle Slam, so from 89 to 91. I'm so bummed you didn't make a record with them back in the day, by the way.
You know, when I was in Uncle Slam, we were in pre-production for We'll Work for Food. So
it's a great record. Dude.
So all those songs were written, and we were in pre-production, and those were fun. So I tell you, of all the bands that I've been in my career, I probably hold a place in my heart
near and dear
to Uncle Slam. It was just such a fun band to be in, you know. Rehearsals were a blast. Both Amory and Todd were phenomenal musicians. I wish Todd would have gone on to do more in the music business, because he's just such a phenomenal guitar player, classically trained. So you'd look at the guy and think that, oh yeah, he's just a punk rock guitar player or whatever, but he was so much more. It's just, the man was just so freaking talented. And then obviously Amory went on to do great things, you know, after Suicidal and then Uncle Slam. He went on to tour with the Beastie Boys for years. So yeah,
it's not a bad gig, dude.
Yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, he did really well for himself. But yeah, Uncle Slam was a great band. Did a few shows with them. I remember one show we did at oh crap, it's a Sunset Boulevard, kind of next to the Laugh Factory.
Not the Troubadour.
Yeah, it's another club. It was another one of those clubs
the Viper
that's
Room
long
or
gone.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
But we did a show there, and
Cat Club
all
or
the guys
whatever.
in Suicidal showed up.
Wow.
And now I'm just freaking out because, you know, the place was tiny. It's it's right there on the tip of my tongue. I'll think of it before
It's all good.
this sentence is over. Anyway, so we're doing the show, and you got all the guys in Suicidal, like 10 feet in front of us, arms crossed, and I'm like, fuck.
You're like, don't fuck this up.
Just yes, you can do this, and it was just one of the best gigs I'd ever played in my life, and I'll never forget. Robert Trujillo came up to me after the show and says, "Dude, great job." And I just that was the highlight of my career. I could have quit playing right then and said, "Yeah, it's fucking badass." But no, I had a lot of fun in Uncle Slam. They're a great band. I wish I would have recorded with them at least something.
I wish
you know,
you would have too.
I did a 3-song demo with them right before we went into pre-production for We'll Work for Food. So we did Dazed and Confused, Hanging in the Hood, and We'll Work for Food. I think those are the 3 songs on the demo that I did.
Wow. And then they went, and then obviously they recorded.
Yeah, they recorded
the debut.
Yeah. In fact, kind of a funny story about Uncle Slam is every record that they did. If you look at the album credits, it says guitar and vocals, Todd Moyer, drums Amory Smith, and bass was a guy named Simon Oliver. Well, Simon Oliver. Probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's been so many years. Simon Oliver doesn't exist. Simon Oliver is basically Todd Moyer.
Well, it's in like an alter ego, or
yeah.
Oh
so
my God, that's amazing.
So I guess on the first record, who was Suicidal's bass player at the time?
Not to do research.
Anyway, he was supposed to record on the first Uncle Slam record. And for some reason, something happened, something fell through. So Todd ended up doing it and said, well, I'm just going to be the alter ego Simon Oliver.
That's amazing.
And then same with the record that
and the guy's name is it's Luigi
Mayorga. Yes,
yeah.
God, how could I forget that? I just as soon as you said it came right on me. But,
okay, sorry.
But anyhow, So yeah, and then the record that I was going to do with them, We'll Work for Food. Like I say, we were all the way through pre-production. That's when I got a call from David Wayne saying, "Hey, Brian Corbin, the guitar player for Heretic, or
that as well.
Yeah,
which
for
we'll
recommended you. Would you be interested in coming down to audition?" So I did. I got the gig. So I had to tell the guys in Uncle Slam, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I
have this opportunity.
Yeah,
to
I
play
got an
with
opportunity.
Arguably one of the greatest metal vocalists of all time. Can I say that? At least to me.
You know what? I love David Wayne. I love David Wayne's voice. It's David Wayne is a lot like Dave Mustaine or King Diamond, or like say you either love his vocals or you hate his vocals.
Okay, it sounds like Caton, and so you've played. Never mind. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So,
but
and I was always a huge admirer of David Wayne. So yeah, it was hard. That was a difficult decision to make because I loved being in Uncle Slam. I loved Amory and I loved Todd. They were phenomenal musicians. They were just so easy to get along with and work with, and we just had fun. Like I say, we'd get in the rehearsal studio, and we'd just jam and just have a great time. And that's what it's all about.
Doesn't come very often. By the way.
So that was a super difficult decision that I had to make, but
I'm surprised you didn't just make the album with them and then just go make this one.
I don't know. I don't think a lot of people were doing the dual band thing back in those days.
They weren't.
You were in a band. You weren't in 2 or 3 bands. So I hindsight, I probably should have stuck around or like says, hey, I've got this going on, but hey, I'm available 1 day a week, or I can come in on weekends and we can rehearse and we can still get this record done. But like I said, it just wasn't something you did back in those days. Right. So I just never really thought about it.
Which obviously brings me to Reverend, right? So this that I hold in my hands right as I'm saying this, obviously, that you're gracious enough to sign for me. Thank you very much again for it. Play God is on. If you have not heard this record, I suggest you go fucking pick it up because it's an amazing record.
Yeah,
which features arguably one of the greatest vocalists of metal in general.
Yeah. Like I say, they had when I got the phone call, Dennis O'Hara, who was bass player in Reverend at the time, it just him and Dave, I believe, had a falling out. I remember the story, but I don't remember it enough to remember it. But
right.
But yeah, there was some weird falling out, and I know that they had parted ways with their drummer, and I guess something went awry with Dennis, so he ended up leaving the band. And when he left the band, Stu, who's in Heretic with me now, was in Reverend back at the time. He ended up leaving as well, so that just kind of left Dave and Brian basically and this new bass player that they were getting ready to audition. So I guess they were in New York. They played Foundations Forum, the original Foundations Forum, before they moved it out here to the West Coast. And they had met Jason Ian. He was playing in a band out there at the time, but I guess he had gone to see him, and he said, hey, if you ever need a drummer, here's my number, look me up.
Wow.
Well, it just so happens, like I say, after all the dominoes fell and stuff like that, and it was just those two, they got in touch with him. They got in touch with me, and then kind of...
The rest is history. You guys made Play God right here
in
1991.
Yeah, that was an awesome experience. Like I say, being in the studio with Dave Wayne, and just being in pre-production with Dave Wayne.
There's a rumor, and I've always wanted to put it to rest. There's a rumor that he would always do one song naked, and I don't know if it's true or not.
Naked?
Or in his underwear. One of the two.
No. He was naked. I wasn't there. I chose to not be there that day because I knew that he was going to be naked in the studio. But no, what he would do is he would draw a pentagram.
Okay.
On the floor. I believe in chalk, and he would have this, and he would put a candle at all 5 points, and he would stand in the middle, take his clothes off, and he would lay down vocal tracks.
Oh my God.
Yes. No, I wasn't there. I refused.
So it is true. So pretty much I've heard it for every record he's ever done. He would always do at least one song where he was either naked or he was in his underwear. And I just thought that was ridiculous
that's that's a possibility, because I know he did it with the Play God record, so I don't know why.
And he ran the record. Can you imagine him in the dark, like doing the dark and singing like "Watch Your Turn and Pray," and he's like completely naked. I don't mean like I don't want to visualize it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please do not ruin that song for me, because I love that song. If I close my eyes and picture Dave's dong flapping in the wind, I'm not gonna like that song as much.
No. So I'm. Oh.
See, now you're having second thoughts.
No. Yes, I am. But I just wanted to put the rumor to rest, and apparently it is true.
It is
At least for this record that I have. So another question I had for this particular record is, how come you guys chose to do a cover of CCR? Because it's very obscure to do, at least in 1991.
Okay, so the record company
Okay.
really wanted us to do a cover song. In fact, they wanted us to do, believe it or not, you're going to fucking laugh, they wanted us to do Shaft. Doo-doo-doo, 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 boom. Who is the man that would risk his man for his brother man?
Oh my God! Are you talking
Shaft!
Oh God! You're talking the movie, like, so you'd have
We're
to do
talking,
the theme song.
yeah, we're talking. They wanted us to redo Shaft, and we probably sat there for 2-3 weeks. I mean, really trying to work out a metal version of Shaft that just never came to fruition. We finally, we Danny Goodwin was our A&R rep at Charisma Records, and he came in the studio one day and he said, "So, how's Shaft come along?" And we all just kind of said, "You know what? Fuck you and fuck your Shaft. We can't do it." So it was a toss up between Thunder and Lightning from Thin Lizzy. Which I would have loved. Oh my God!
Oh God!
Learning and rehearsing that song was so much fun. So it was Thunder and Lightning, it was Revolution by the Beatles.
Okay.
And which we actually did record. It's on a demo tape someplace. I wish I had that demo tape, but I have no idea where it went. But it actually did get recorded in that session, just didn't make the record. And then obviously Fortunate Son by Creedence.
It's a great cover,
and that's
the way.
That's the one that we went with. Well, we figured with the Creedence song that it would appeal to more people. Like I say, our version of Thunder and Lightning was pretty much dead on the Thin Lizzies.
So good.
Our version of Revolution would have actually been pretty cool, but no, I don't think anybody would have known it was a cover song, because just the way Brian had restructured and rewrote the song, it sounded nothing like the original version.
And then Shaft is non-existent, so.
And Shaft was non-existent. But so yeah, we ended up going with Fortunate Son, and kind of glad we did. Kind of like I say, I think Thunder and Lightning would have, like I say, hindsight, looking back, I think would have, for us, been the better choice, just, being, metalheads and musicians, but
you can't go wrong with CCR,
but for
dude.
the
I always
album,
say
the
that.
album itself, yeah, that was probably a little bit safer. So, but yeah, that was a fun song to do.
What was your favorite, at least of all the, I guess I should have asked you this too, of all your, well, this is the first record you've done, so I can ask from here on out. So what is your favorite track that you recorded on here, like, that you guys absolutely just loved? Like your bass line on, or
Butcher Baghdad was a pretty fun song.
The opening track.
Yeah, Butcher Baghdad was a pretty fun song. What You're Looking For is actually kind of an interesting song, because it kind of starts off very melodic and mellow, and then it kind of gets into that middle section with the kind of galloping riff. But that song was actually about our record company at the time, because What You're Looking For was like a question, like what are you looking for? Like what do you want from us? I mean, we tried to learn Shaft, we're trying to do all these things, and they didn't want to invest money to put us on tour. They actually wanted to shelve that record. And I think ended up putting it out because they knew there were some financial difficulties, and they figured, we need one more tax write-off before we actually just kind of.
I'm glad they did. I mean, this is a rare record, though, which it shouldn't be. At least the two Reverend albums, the first two, shouldn't be. They should be readily available to everybody.
I think so.
If you like metal, you can't go wrong with the first two.
Yeah, World War Mission was a really good record with a lot of really good songs on that.
This one has, I mean, the title track of Play God is just amazing too, though. I was listening to it at work, just studying, making sure that I knew my stuff for my guest here. But, I mean, that song is just amazing too, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Metallica, worship on it, which I love. I love the fact that there's so much of that. I mean, without Metallica, there is no metal church, arguably.
True. Yeah, that could be said. Yeah, they're kind of they kind of went.
I mean, they had so much pull that they asked the record company, "You need to sign Metal Church," and so that what ended up happening is obviously they signed Metal Church, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Fun fact about that record.
Cool. Fun fact time.
Well, fun fact, yes. Juan Garcia from Agent Steel and Evil Dead and Body Count and by the way, that Evil Dead show was amazing a couple weeks ago.
Oh God,
it was so awesome to see those guys playing again. But Juan Garcia does backing vocals on that record.
Really?
Yeah, he's part of the. What did Dave Wayne call it?
I can look it up right here.
Mormon.
On the record.
No, it wasn't the Mormon. It was the something demonic tabernacle choir. I think that's what he dubbed it. But he does some backing vocals on that record.
Oh, and it's not even mentioned on here. I'm gonna have to find this out later.
Lame.
Yeah,
Lame.
It's not even mentioned there.
But yeah, so not only was Dave Wayne naked in the studio, Juan Garcia was there.
Hopefully he wasn't in. Never mind.
No,
I'm not even gonna finish my statement there.
No, we were all actually all crammed in a booth together, doing backup chants and stuff like that. So and Dave had all his clothes on, or else I wouldn't have been in that booth.
So and then obviously there is a live EP that you did in '92 with them.
As a live EP, that record came out because the record company they had officially kind of said, okay, we're not going to be around anymore. So we had one more commitment,
on your
and
contract,
so they allowed us to do a live record as our commitment. And
that record's hard to find, dude.
It was. I think the record itself only has 6 or 7 songs on it. We did a full 12-song concert. So I have no idea what would have happened to those other songs. I would love to know, but there's a lot of questions that I would love to ask David Wayne. You know, I mean, if he could and was able to walk in the room right now, I would
freak out.
Yeah, there would be. Yeah, we'd both freak out. But there's a lot of questions that I would have asked him. You know, that I would like to ask him. About back in the day, being in a band with him, stuff like that. But it was fun. He was a joker. He was a prankster. He loved fucking with people, and he loved fucking with the new guys.
Okay, so obviously you're the new guy. So what's a good pranky?
Oh God, I don't even know where we were, but we were in between gigs, and we were on the road, and I guess I'd fallen asleep, and
oh no, I don't want to know where this is going now.
No, I woke up with a sweaty ball sack sitting in my hand.
Oh
yeah.
My God. So what did you fall asleep and you're just?
Yeah, I guess I fell asleep with my hand whatever, just kind of like that, and then the next thing I how you feel something and you kind of wake up and you look and then everybody's cracking up and you've got to. Yeah, we couldn't get pulled over and get my hands washed fast enough, but
man,
yeah, just little things like that. I remember we were sound checking, and I think our drummer, Jason, he used to pull a lot of pranks. He had some stink bombs, and I guess while we were sound checking, he broke one, or kind of. I guess you step on him, and ended up clearing out the entire club. Now, granted, it was earlier in the day, so like I say, it was just sound check. But it's funny just watching this whole mass people just leave this, because they didn't know what it was. They thought it was some sort of gas leak, and they're all freaking out. And and
awesome,
Jason's just
too.
cracking up, and it's just yeah. That's just stupid shit that you did back when you were in your 20s, But,
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, you do. So yeah, being in a band with David Wayne was definitely an experience.
And making a record is
Yeah,
just awesome. To have that in
dig
your
it.
collection and in your catalog of music, it must just feel awesome. So, so I have a question from a fan who wanted me to ask this to you. So I guess I'll ask it right now. He wanted to know about your bass rig. So he said, ask Angelo. This is from Alex Martin. He said, ask Angelo about his bass rig, how he modded it, how he modded his Rickenbacker. He says he noticed it has a Fender style pickups in it, and it just looks super awesome. So he wants to know how you did that.
So this was back when I was in LSN. So this was like early mid 80s, let's say. Greg used to work for this place up in Hollywood called Performance Guitars, which is no longer there. They're not even. I don't even think they even make guitars anymore. But they were just a small custom shop, and he used to manufacture all their guitars. And one of my pickups on my bass was cutting out, and so he says, "Oh, I'm gonna take it to work, and I'll." Blah blah blah. So he took it to work. Well, he comes back, and instead of the pickups that were in there, he put in Seymour Duncan. He put in Duncan distortion guitar pickups, and I played with them. I played with that for years. It was a little bit of a different tone. Kind of a different sound, and then. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to put bass pickups back in there, so I was kind of like looking around. Well, what do I want to do? I didn't want to put the factory stock ones back in it, so I was just doing some research, and I love the sound of the P-bass setup, and so I ended up going with the Seymour Duncans. But at the time, and they still don't. Rickenbackers are just two straight bar pickups. They didn't have the split pickups for the neck for the neck pickups.
Right. Correct.
So I had a custom shop route out my guitar for me. So they put the P bass in front, and then they put the quarter pound jazz for the bridge pickup. And I just been playing with that setup ever since, and it gives me a little bit of a different tone. It kind of sets me apart. From the standard Rick sound and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that came about. And just ever since then, any guitar or any Rick that I bought, I would send it to my guy. He'd, route out the body and put them in. So
that's amazing.
That's kind of how that started. So, and now I got Lace to
I love Lace pickups.
Get me some make me some pickups. So I've got the Man of Wars.
Yeah,
I got the Man of Wars PJ set up.
It's a great sounding pickup.
In my live guitar, which is my Black Rick, my Tobacco Sunburst Rick, it's what I use in the studio.
Which is obviously the one you're most. I see the most of is a Sunburst.
Yeah, so that one still has the Seymour Duncans in them. I haven't put the lace in those yet, but.
It's what a great pickup company though, man.
It's pickups. Like I say, it's interesting. Like I say, it just kind of helps. It just kind of helps differentiate my tone, So yeah.
And the fact that they're local and they support musicians like myself and you is just amazing. So shout out to Lace Pickups. Obviously,
great guys.
They endorse me.
Yes, yeah. I saw you got your own custom.
Yes,
your own custom model,
now,
which I was pretty fucking jealous. But congratulations, my friend.
Yeah,
that's badass.
I appreciate it. So, thanks to Jared and Jeff. But anyway, so let's get back on track to your history, your musical career. It's all about you, fortunately, on this show. So, we're gonna get to Hyrax since it happened, from 2003 to 2005. I have no idea what happened in the 90s. Obviously,
I'll tell you what happened. After Reverend, after Reverend broke up.
In 1993, ladies and gentlemen.
1993, yes. When Reverend broke up, the existing band outside of Dave, we got a new singer, and we formed a band called Seed. And we were Seed for about 2-3 years. Did a lot of stuff, a lot of local shows. Did a demo tape, and we actually did a couple of showcases for some record companies back in the day. And God, what happened with the band? Oh, Jason Ian started dating my cousin, who my singer was madly in love with. Just worshipped my cousin. She had angel wings, and she was like the perfect person. And Jason, I do have to admit, wanted nothing to do with her. Says, look, I'm not going to break up the band, but without, Chris likes you, but she liked him, So when you got a chick like falling all over you, you're human, So he started dating her, and then that just fucking just threw a wrench in the works, and Chris quit the band, and it just turned into this big giant mess.
It is hard.
So shortly thereafter that, I ended up meeting a guy named David Ezrin, who is actually Bob Ezrin, the Kiss, his son, and I was in a band with him for probably 10-15 minutes, I guess. We're a band called Lucian. It was Scott Rickett, who used to be in Witch, Dave, who sang and played keyboards, and then Mike Hansen, who's the drummer for Hurricane.
Okay, wow, that's super obscure.
Yeah, so the three of us, I guess, or the four of us, I guess should say, I joined their band. I say we were together probably about 6 months or so. Put out a demo tape, and at that time, I was at a weird place in my life. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do musically. I had just had my second child, and I just felt that it was time for me to be a responsible adult and be a family man. So I walked away from music from 1998 to 2003. Wow. So when I got the call to audition for Heretic,
well, it wouldn't be Heretic.
I'm sorry. When I got the call to audition for Hyrax, I was 5 years removed from music. I maybe picked up a guitar once, maybe twice in that 5 years.
Wow. How do you do that?
Like I say, I was in a different place. My mind was in a different place. Music really wasn't the first thing on my mind like it has been my entire life. I mean, music's a part of me, and it's at that particular time in life it really wasn't. It was more, my kids, my family, being a responsible dad, and
there's nothing wrong with it.
So I walked away from it. So when it came time to start playing again, it was, man, you talk about rusty, you talk about going from absolutely nothing to Hyrax, That was a lot of practicing on my own, a lot of homework. But when I did go audition for them, Glenn sent me a demo. He sent me I want to say 11 songs, and I learned 9 of the 11. They said, hey, learn the first 2 songs, and we'll kind of take it from there. And I figured, well, shit, I got the tape, I got the whole thing. I might as well. So I learned pretty much the entire thing. So when I went in an audition, we played the first 2 songs, and I go, hey, how about the Hey Killin' Power? You learned it? Yeah.
Hey for Power?
Played it. How about just started going through I said, how about that one? How about that one? And next thing you know, I say, we had a full rehearsal in because I played the entire set, and I think that impressed them. But I think there's nothing worse than bringing in somebody to audition and can't even make it through a song. What was that middle part again? How did it go? It's just
oh no, it's
no. Yeah, and
bringing back old memories I don't want to bring up again.
Yeah, that's happened to me too many times. Auditioning, whether it be a guitar player or a drummer or whatever. It's just oh, come on, it just put a little effort in, and I put a lot of effort in because it's just what I like to do. So I think that's why I got the audition, because I made the effort to learn the entire CD that they gave me. So that was a fun audition. That was a super fun audition. I'd been a fan of Hyrax in the past. I'd never met Caton, believe it or not, all the years. Even back in the Vermin and LSN days, which was a pretty prominent thrash metal band for back in the time, and Hyrax was a pretty well known band at the time. Never crossed paths.
Well, what's funny, I mean, obviously we have social media, so we didn't obviously you didn't have that back in the day, so I'm assuming, I mean, the connections are just...
You didn't, but you also had tape trading back in the day, so I mean, that's how a lot of the European, metal fans knew of a lot of the the early 80s metal bands, and vice versa, that's how we heard of a lot of the early...
Right, as that's been well documented, through with tons of stuff. As tape trading was like the social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh, I know what I did before. I know what I did.
Yeah, fill me in.
In between. Well, I was in a band called Dissenter. That and the importance of that is we did a demo tape, and the song "Blood Under Heaven" appeared on Metal Massacre 8 or 9.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So it is funny. So I'm sure we'll get to the bitch stuff later.
Obviously.
But I've been associated with Predator, which is a Metal Blade band.
Hyrax, which is a Metal Blade band.
Bitch. LSN. Deadly Kiss was on Metal Massacre 2 or 3, one of the earlier Metal Massacres.
Which one?
Deadly Kiss from LSN.
Okay.
It was on one of the early Metal Massacres. Yeah, so I just I've
you're forgetting one. I know exactly which one it is. Come on now.
Shit.
Oh, Julian would be pissed at you right now.
Oh, yeah. I guess Heretic was an original Metal Blade signee, huh? Yeah. So,
it's okay. I got you, Angelo, or I got you, Julian. Okay, that was my mistake for the day. Anyway, go for it.
We were talking about Dissenter. Yeah. Yes. So there. Yeah. Dissenter probably took up probably about a year. So it must have been LSN, Dissenter, then Uncle Slam. Yeah, the LSN, Dissenter, Uncle Slam, and then into Reverend. But while I was still in Dissenter, I also was bass and guitar tech for Dark Angel on their Leave Scar and Live Scars
killing me, dude.
Tours. Those guys were an absolute blast to be on the road with. Well, Mike Gonzalez and I, we've known each other since high school. We kind of grew up in the same neighborhood together, so we've known each other for a long time. Well, same with all the guys in Heretic. I've known Bob Marquez and I, the original guitar player. We went to high school together. Glenn Rogers and I have known each other from high school. Brian Corbin and I have known each other from high school. I've known Julian since just a little when he joined Heretic was when I first got to know him, because I knew of him. He was in a band called the Hierophant, or the Hierophant. I forget how they pronounced it. So he was he was in the scene, but I didn't really get to know him until he had joined Heretic back in the day. Obviously before my time, I was in other bands at the time, but that Dark Angel thing was that was a key part of my musical past too, because I learned so much from those guys. Gene is a fucking genius. He's just a songwriting genius. He pretty much writes everything. And he's probably as good a guitar player, if not better, than he is a drummer.
Oh my God, obviously, yeah. Time is not a hill. I don't even have to say anything else.
Yeah. Well, when we were what came first?
Leave Scars.
So when we were on the Leave Scars tour, him and Brett, while me, Mike Gonzalez and Eric Meyer
Okay.
We're out being fucking morons and getting drunk and partying and chasing women around. Eric, or I should say Gene and Brett would be back in the hotel room.
Okay, so this is during the live scars because Jim Durkin was obviously gone by
Right,
then.
yeah. So, him and Brett would be sitting in their
And
hotel
who did
room.
backup vocals on it was Ron Erickson of Viking.
Yes.
Fun fact. So
Yes.
Anyway.
They would be in the hotel rooms while we were all out partying and being morons. Gene and Brett would be sitting in the hotel room with a 4-track, writing riffs for obviously which would
Arguably, in my opinion, one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah. But the funniest thing was, like, say, walking into Gene's room, hotel room one day, say, hey, we're going down to wherever, you guys want to come? And he's got a guitar on, and say going, no, we're busy here, and just he shreds. Gene shreds. People may not know that he shreds.
Yeah.
And probably double picks faster than anybody I've ever seen. So you were like really doing it. You're not just telling Jim and Eric how to play it. You're like, no, play it like this, type of thing. So yeah, it's
quite amazing, and I'm really surprised that Eric didn't contribute as much as he did. Obviously, like, Gene is contributed most of Dark Angel's material.
I was in a band with Eric. It was what was it called? It was called. Anyway, we had a band together. It was after. It
wasn't Oil, right?
It was after. It was after Oil. No. Oil was the last band that I was in before
Really?
I joined Lucian. So it must have been.
I don't even have that in my notes.
Yeah, God, we did because Stu did the Oil demo.
Mm-hmm.
So he played guitar, Jason Ian on drums, myself, and we had a guy named Dim Miner, who was kind of had a raspy, like, cigarette smoker's voice.
So Ron Reiner wasn't the singer at the time?
Ron was the singer at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron had just joined the band. Yeah, because when I first started working with them, Don Doty was still in the band. And then
so you're talking Dark Angel right now. You're
Yeah.
not talking Oil. You're talking.
Ron never did Oil. Eric did. Eric did a little bit with us. Oil had already broken up, and Jason and I, when we got together with Eric, we did a couple of those songs. But then Eric started writing. He started getting a little bit more into the songwriting aspect of things, and he's a good songwriter as well. He's a really good songwriter as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was called Hunger.
Hunger. That was it.
Damn it! Not Oil.
Hunger.
Oh my God! Brain fart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgive me on
No.
that.
Actually, we didn't have a vocalist at the time. It was just we were just 3-piece, so we would get together out in Orange County someplace, and we would just jam 3-piece for a while. But
Right. So this had Ron and Eric formerly of Dark Angel was the band Hunger.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally brain fart. That was my fault, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. No, I'm glad because I completely forgot the name of that band too. I'm like sitting there, God, I know I was in the band with them. What the hell was the name of it? But yeah, so there was a lot of little side projects, little one-off projects that we had done, in between a lot of the other ones. But so after that 5-year gap, auditioned for Hyrax and spent probably 3-4 years with them, I'm gonna say.
With Hyrax, you spent so it's from 2003 to 2005.
So I was with them.
You
for
recorded the New Age of Terror, which came out
Age of Terror.
in 2004. So what was that experience like for you?
That was fun because that was the first time back in the studio in quite a few years. Because you figure, Play God was
12 years earlier.
early '90s.
Yeah, 91.
So it didn't really do anything the rest of the 90s. A couple demos, like I say, a couple demos here and there. Nothing major. And then like I say, but to be retired, to have walked away from music, altogether, and then to get back into it, that was fun. I had a rejuvenation. The love for music definitely came back, and I tell you what, that to this day, that flame, that musical flame that burns in me is probably just as bright now as it was the day that I decided I was going to come out of retirement and start playing again. So, but no, being in Hyrax and a lot of the experiences that I shared with Glenn Caton and the
Fabricio
the rotation of drummers. Well, I see. So me, it was just Jorge and Dave Chedrick.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think Dave recorded the record.
Yeah, Fabricio. No, actually, Jorge recorded the record, and he left the band shortly thereafter, and then that's when Dave Chedrick came in. But I would have loved to have jammed with Fabricio. He's awesome. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Holy cow, he's a monster of a drummer. But unfortunately, never got the opportunity. But Hyrax is what relaunched
your
career.
in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I've done more since I've come back than I did in all the years, leading up to my retirement. Did some, phenomenal shows from, Germany, Switzerland,
Bang Your Head
Sweden,
Festival, dude.
Just like a lot of the things.
You did do the Bang Your Head Festival, right? Because I know I have that on DVD, and it does feature you, I think.
The Bang Your Head Festival.
I want to say it does.
Bang Your Head.
I think it was 2005.
Bang Your Head. Possibly. So we did...
that was in Germany.
Sweden Rock. We did...
It's gonna stump you.
I can't even think of it. We did Dockham. That's the one that's up in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Bang Your Head. I guess so. But the whole point being is I played some of the biggest shows that I had ever played. Once I got back into it, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I really regret how Caton and mine's tenure as musician or as bandmates came to an end. It wasn't pretty. But I never had ill will towards him. I was always grateful that he gave me a second opportunity. I mean, because I'm sure there was a million bass players he could have chose from, and he chose a guy who had walked away from music for 5 years and was completely rusty as fuck, So, the fact that he gave me the opportunity, I will always be grateful to him, and I, when I see him, I still tell him that to this day. I say, I'm still thankful, and I appreciate the fact that you gave me an opportunity to relaunch, and I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for Caton. So,
well, you wouldn't be talking to me because of this. on all honesty, like, this was how I found you. Was through Reverend. So if it wasn't for that particular record,
well, that's awesome.
That's how you wouldn't have come on my radar yet.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. But like I say, I had it not been.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
I mean, hell, I could have. I could have landed in just another local band, I'm not a cover band guy, and I don't have anything against people who play in cover bands, and I know there's like a lot of tribute bands out there that are doing great things. In fact, some of these tribute bands are touring more than I probably ever will. Covers aren't my thing.
They're not my thing either.
I know maybe a handful of covers. I think I can play Smoke on the Water and Breaking the Law.
I don't even think I could play that all the way through. I could just play certain riffs.
So like I say, just the cover things was never really my cup of tea. So I can't even say that, hey, maybe I'd be in a cover band right now, because it just never was my thing, my guitar player Stu, I mean, outside of Heretic, I want to say he's in 2 cover bands. He's in Full Metal Jacket and a band called Rock Shop.
Okay.
So, which is great. He's keeping his chops up, so yeah. So, and he's playing. And I guess that's no different than playing your own stuff. I mean, you're playing, you're doing what you love, and you're having fun.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's the important thing. It's like I say, it's just never been my thing. So I've always written my own music. I've always been in original bands and stuff. So, but who knows what I would have done? Who knows where I would have gone, because I really wasn't looking to get back into music at the time.
Well, music certainly finds you. That's what it is. It's not about. I don't know how to say it any other way than that. But music kind of finds you. You don't find music. It's just it's really weird. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And that's, like I said, that's pretty much what happened to me. Just out of the blue. Glenn, an old high school buddy of mine, says, "Hey, you still play bass?" And I actually, at the time that he reached out to me, I says, "Dude, I haven't picked up a guitar in 5 years." So I mean, I was like, he goes, "Well, hey," he goes, I just joined this band and we're doing some stuff.
Joined this band, yeah. I don't know if you've heard of them. Called
well, actually, it's funny. He didn't tell me who they were at first. He just, I just joined this band. They play metal, and when he said when they played thrash, I was like, "Oh, dude, I haven't played thrash in years. I didn't even think my fingers could move that fast." And so he hit me up 2 or 3 times. Well, right before, in fact, you know what? I didn't play Bang Your Head because they were actually going to play the Bang Your Head festival.
Oh, okay, so my mistake.
Yeah.
Again,
who was in the band?
I need to do my research more often. More so.
Mike Brickman. Mike Brickman was their bass player at the time.
Okay.
Anyway, so Glenn says, "Hey, well, look, I just want you to know that we're going to Europe. We're doing a festival over there. We're going to do a couple club dates. When we get back, we're firing our bass player. So you can either learn these songs and come on down and audition, or we'll move on and look for someone else." And I says, "Oh, okay, fine. Send me some songs and I'll learn a couple of them."
So what did you just send you the songs? He's like, "Wait, that's Caton."
No, well, it was funny, and I still didn't know who the band was or whatever. So he sends me this disc, it was just it's a regular burn CD, and it said, Hyrax, whatever. And I said, "I remember that band." Like I said, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, "Oh, dude, I remember Hyrax from back in the day." So it was like, "Oh, fuck it, man. What the hell? I'm gonna give it a listen." So like I said, I put the disc on and I'm listening to the songs. I going, "Nope. No, this ain't for me. I can't play that, dude. There's no way that I can play that." It's just, So I, whatever, took it out, threw it off of my desk or whatever. And a couple days later, I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Grabbed it, put it back in the player, and started learning a song. And I learned 2, and then next thing you know, I was like 3-4 days into this thing, I learned pretty much. I think it was 9 or 10 songs on there. I can't remember, but I ended up learning everything. I think there was maybe one that I didn't learn or just was having trouble with, and just it had a weird interchange in the middle of the song, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" I figure I'll just ask Glenn or whoever knows how to play the song. Dude, what the hell is he doing there? But learned everything else.
Right. Obviously, yeah. So you did the album, and then so from 2006, you joined a new band after Hyrax.
I did join a new band.
It's called Once Dead.
Actually, it was funny because I didn't really. Yes, I did join it, but so Once Dead was Glenn Rogers' original or Christian band. They were actually Deliverance, which he just Deliverance just released a record.
Not that Deliverance, like the Christian.
The Christian, yeah. They just released a record day before yesterday. Yeah.
Not the technical thrash metal band.
Yeah.
Deliverance. Oh man.
Yeah. They just really anyway. So that's what Glenn's doing now, but. They wanted to do a Vengeance reunion, but the original vocalist owns the rights to the name and wouldn't let him do it. So, Once Dead was the name of Vengeance's first record. So we said, well, we'll just go under the name Once Dead because our fans, the fans of Vengeance and Deliverance and all that stuff, were familiar with that. So that's kind of how that came about. So I basically just kind of filled in or sat in because the original Vengeance bass players like lived someplace back in Tennessee or something like that, and he couldn't come out and do it. And Glenn and I had recently been in Hyrax together, so he says, "Hey, you want to do this record with us?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." So yeah, I guess you can say that was my next project. So we did that, did a couple shows. We did a big giant Christian metal festival in Switzerland called the Elements of Rock, which was pretty awesome. But it was weird for me because I'm not a religious person. So it was kind of weird. Everybody kind of getting around before the show and interlocking hands and saying a prayer before going on stage. I was like, oh, okay. Not my thing. And then in between bands, they would have
talking Vengeance Rising.
Vengeance Rising. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. See, I should have done my homework, people. This is all coming off of a 53-year-old brain right now.
I'm trying to get it from him, ladies and gentlemen. I actually have. What's funny about this band is I actually have a cassette. I don't know where it's. Come see us at the Waters Club. It's like a red. It's literally a promo. I guess they would hand out promos like back in the day or something.
That was pretty big back in the day.
Okay,
that was pretty big back in the day. We used to make 2-song cassettes.
That's what Vengeance Rising did. So I have one, and it says for booking, call this number.
Yeah.
I always wanted to call it and see if anybody would answer, but come see us at the Waters Club, such and such on such and such date.
If I can think about it when I get home, I'll take a few pictures and send them to you of some old demo tapes, which is actually what you did. You put your phone number on the bottom of this thing. It says, for booking or for information, call blah blah blah. Half the time it was our moms picking up the phone.
Right.
Angelo, someone's on the phone for you. Type of thing or whatever.
I'm gonna take a picture of that demo tape and I'm gonna send it to you so you can get a kick out of it.
It is so funny, but it's such a different world we live in. Like I say, from putting a demo tape in an envelope and dropping it in the mail, and 6 weeks later it getting to somebody in Europe. Now it's just let me turn on my phone and text the dude, "Hey, bro, what's going on?" type of thing. So it's just like I say, it's
instant connection.
Yeah, the world's such a smaller place, but Hyrax was an absolute blast. Being in the studio was a lot of fun. Just being a part of the entire process. Watching. Here again. I wasn't really around a lot when Caton was doing his vocals, but like I said, I wasn't around a lot when Dave was doing his vocals. Wasn't around a lot when Julian was doing his vocals and stuff like that. It's boring as fuck watching someone sing. I'm not gonna lie. So I
wouldn't know.
So I just said, "Nah, you know what? I think I'll pass on this session here and stuff like that." But coming in for the background vocals and the chants and stuff like that, like I say, that's always a good time. The recording process is actually pretty fucking boring. I mean, anybody out there?
I don't think so. I think it's fun as fuck. I think it's more exciting to record than it is to play live.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I'm not a studio dude. I'm a get on stage in front of people and play. I love that.
Well, there's a balance. I'm like that too, but sometimes I just need my space and just to record.
No, listen. Don't get me wrong. Going into a recording studio and recording a record is a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. There's a lot of tedious work, and it's very fucking boring and very repetitious. So I'm almost kind of contradicting myself in a ways because, like I say,
you like both. You're like a musician like me, where you like both, but you prefer to play live.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to go in a recording studio, but like I say, once you start getting immersed in it and stuff like that, I think the fun part is that you're playing and that you're creating. But like I said, you've been in this, you've recorded a couple records. You also know that there's a lot of downtime and a lot of,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, live has always been my thing. I as a kid, I was always shy. I wasn't really popular. little bit of a dorky kid. Used to get beat up a lot. So music was my escape. Listening to it. And then eventually one day, it's like, I want to do what they're doing. That just sounds so cool. And just I used to play along to records. That's how I learned how to play. I used to sit in my bedroom and just play to records, because all the kids in the neighborhoods, they would all, they were playing street hockey or beating me up or whatever. So I spent a lot of time not outside getting beat up and having things thrown at me, and just like I say, playing my guitar and just kind of.
That was me in elementary school. I wasn't the popular kid either, so I picked up an instrument and just figured metal doesn't judge how short you are. No, it doesn't. Yeah, metal doesn't judge a lot of things that you are. That's why I gravitated towards it.
Yeah, and
so I totally get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. And then you know what? I found a family. I found a family in metal fans. I found that the only thing that they really judged were music they didn't like. And that was pretty much it,
And if your record sucked, other than that,
yeah. But other than that, I mean, it was like a big family, going to whether you went to like I say back then, Fenders or the Country Club or the Roxy or the Whiskey, you saw the same group of people every time, and I think that's what made the music scene so fun back in the day, because it was. Everybody, you know that, hey, if we're gonna go to this show, the whole group's gonna be there, and boom, you'd see everybody, and it was just a big family.
It's kind of like that now, though. I mean, definitely now, the metal scene now definitely needs to get its due. For some reason, everyone obviously is into the '80s thing, and it's all people talk about anymore. But I definitely think that the 2000s definitely needs to get its due finally. I don't know when we're gonna get our due. But we have so many good bands that just.
You know what? There's a lot of really good bands. I think it's the lack of places to play.
Really?
I mean,
you don't think it's the internet and social media thing where it's kind of like nobody really goes out to shows anymore because of that whole thing? It's kind of a double-edged sword for me.
Okay, so maybe that's what I mean by lack of places to play, and I guess there's really not a lack of places to play, because I mean I know. Jason puts on a ton of shows all over town.
ADHD Entertainment right here, puts on a lot of great gigs.
Shout out to Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
He kills it, dude.
So it's just I don't know. When we used to go see shows, there wasn't 5 or 6 bands on bills.
That's atrocious. I keep telling, I keep trying to tell everybody, like,
you
need to have 4 bands.
You
tops,
had 3,
dude.
3, 4 bands max. And that made for a long evening. But like I say, it was doable. But I notice nowadays when you go to a show, if I'm going to see if there's 5 bands and my friends in band B, everybody that went to get as soon as band B is done playing, their whole crowd is gone. And then when band C comes up, their crowd of people are in front of the stage. And then once they're done playing, band C's crowd's gone and stuff like that. To where back in the day, you'd get to the show for the opening band and you stayed till the last band.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's just what you did. You didn't leave. Nobody left. Nobody ever left.
You don't think it's because we have all these technologies and fun things to do now? So now it's like, I can just go sit in my room and be on social media for hours
honestly,
end, as opposed to going out and seeing a band play kind of thing.
I think that's something that you would probably need to ask probably someone a little closer to your age.
That's just what I've noticed.
Yeah, so and like I say, it's different for me. I don't. I mean, to be honest with you, I very rarely go to shows. I very rarely get out of the house, but when I do, it's for the Hyrax Evil Dead thing, or oh my God, I missed Creator the other day. Oh, I'm so kicking myself. You went to Megadeth last night.
No, I went to Exodus.
You went to Exodus last night.
Exodus Municipal Waste. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I hadn't. Yeah, as soon as I went in, I was like, man, I got to start playing shows again because the atmosphere is just so much fun. And that's what I try and bring to Madras is like when you go see Madras, it's a fucking event. It's not a fucking local show that you can see every other week. No, we only play a certain amount of times during the year, and that's it, people. Yeah. So if you want to come see us, you got to make it. You got to turn it into a fucking event. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, and speaking of speaking of events, when we did that show together about a year ago, you guys, us, and Hyrax.
Oh my god,
dude, following you guys was tough. You guys are fucking good, man.
Thank you.
And you guys are tight. You guys, that
was 2 years ago.
You guys are. I keep wanting to call you guys up and comers, but what are you? 2 albums in? 3 albums in? 3?
Yeah, yeah, that's our third right there.
That's the third one right there. Yeah, yeah. You guys aren't up and comers anymore. You guys, I think are solidified in the metal world.
That's
in the
amazing.
Metal scene and stuff like that. Yeah,
we've been trying every fucking step of the way to be.
Yeah. No, you guys
to make our mark into the scene. You know?
So yeah, definitely following you guys was a bit of a challenge.
That's good. We've been told that many times over, and it's good to still hear that.
That's how it should be. You know that
old and new bands tell us the same thing. Man, you guys are a tough act to follow. Like it's hard to. I mean, some of the touring bands we've toured with have told us that, and that was just an amazing compliment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know what? Be proud of it. Be proud of it because you know what? It all comes down to hard work, dedication,
and if your songs are good.
Yeah, you know what? But being true to yourself, you know, and you work hard. You know, you work. You do this. You know, yeah, you play in a band.
Like that. Like you said, the podcast, working like we both do.
Yeah.
And we play in bands and have to do shows and tour. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So,
but thank you very much for the compliment. I really appreciate
no, absolutely. But
that.
like I say, you know, back to the original premise. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure social media has a lot to do with everything,
right?
In today's society, and how things work and how things are run. But I don't know. I mean, I couldn't sit at home and watch a video of a band, which I have. You know, I mean, obviously you buy No, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I have DVDs of you know, Priest and Saxon and Slayer and, you know, like I say. So I mean, I watch DVDs of bands, but I'm talking about like the local kids getting out and going and seeing bands. And like I say, you know, getting there at 8:00 and staying until midnight or 1:00 whenever the last band plays, and just taking in the whole thing, you know.
That's why I take my dad with me, and I experienced that with him, you know. So it's kind of, you can do a bonding thing with it too. You're using it as an excuse to fucking go out and hang and go see a show. Mm-hmm. So you can always think of it in that aspect for anybody who's watching or listening.
So yeah, like I say, if I go to a show, so the most recent local show that I was at was Anger is Art and Revmedics.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be talking about them coming up soon too.
Nice, yeah. So yeah, that was a couple weeks back. In fact, Anger recorded a live album that night, and I couldn't not be there. You know, good buddies of mine. So yeah, I definitely wanted to be there for that show specifically and support. You know.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's get back to. We can either take a break right now, or we can definitely finish off where we started from. So, what would you like to do?
It's up to you. I'm going good. If we take a break, I might fall asleep because I know it's approaching my bedtime. Oh crap.
Good. So tell us a little bit about Visions of Hell, real quick.
Visions of Hell
from Once Dead
was that was okay. So that was a record that was written for a lot of Vengeance Rising fans, because you know the Christian metal thing is a huge underground thing that I found out a lot about when I was doing it. They have huge followings, And it was just fans from 25 years ago. Just we want new Vengeance music, and they unfortunately couldn't give it to him in the Vengeance capacity because the whole legalities of the name thing. So we did the Once Dead version of it, and that was a fun record. That whole record was kind of written on the fly. Everybody contributed. In fact, I even think I wrote a song on that record, if I'm not mistaken. Couldn't tell you which one it was, but Glenn had he had his hands in the mix. Like I say, everybody contributed on that record, and that was probably the fun part of it, is kind of everybody like putting in their 2 cents and stuff like that. The production came out horrible, but the singer and the drummer lived in Fresno. And then, like I said, the rest of us lived down this way. So what we would do is we would make a trip up to Fresno, and we would rehearse. And then 2 weeks later, they would make a trip down to Southern California, and we would rehearse and stuff. So when we finally did get into the recording studio, it was like, how much can we get done in a short amount of time, and I wish we had taken a little bit more time, not tried to knock everything out in one weekend, and just kind of like spread it out over like 3 or 4 weekends. It's like come down, like do a couple songs at a time, get those mixed, do another couple songs, get those mixed. But like I said, we just tried to get everything done all in one session. And then, we're kind of up against the clock when it came to mixing and mastering and getting it to the record company. The production definitely did lack, but the songs were a lot of fun. We had a song one of the songs was called "Bury Your Dead." The Contract. Just fun songs. Yes, it was a great experience. Like I say, it wasn't. I can't say that I was in the band. I mean, I guess I was in the band because I recorded the record with them, but it wasn't really like a long-term project. It was basically like, it was kind of like a reunion type of thing for some fans of theirs from back in the day. So that's kind of how that came about.
Awesome. So now we can talk about Vermin, because in 2006 to 2008, it states that you were actually in Vermin, which we talked about earlier. Obviously, we're making a full circle right here to it. So.
Yes, and we actually called it Vermin LSN because at the time it had the 3 LSN members, so myself, Greg, and Mike, and then John Cochran, who was the original guitar player for Vermin and did a lot of the songwriting, kind of came in the mix. So rather than calling it either Vermin or LSN, we just kind of called it Vermin LSN. Just kind of like put both names together. So
that's catchy.
When John's in town and we do a show, we do it as Vermin LSN. If it's just the 3-piece, we just do it as LSN.
So you still do shows with Vermin LSN?
We did one. The most recent one we did was just a little over Metal Summit. I don't know if you know Sherman Jones.
I'm going to be getting. I want him on this particular show so I can interview him from Insecticide.
Bass player, vocalist for Insecticide. Celebrating 31 years now, by the way. Last year was their 30th anniversary.
No, he's a little bit older than 31.
30.
You're talking Insecticide?
No, I'm talking about the band itself. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Sherman.
No. Sherman's my age. In fact, he might even be older than me. But no, the band just celebrated their 30th anniversary.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's 87.
So obviously this year's 31. But we did Sherman. He does local shows from time to time, and he does a thing.
He's a hard guy to track down, by the way.
He is a hard guy to track. He is and he isn't. I could call him right now and he'd pick up the phone.
I'm gonna have to probably get his number. Yeah, I have his
Hey
number.
Sherman.
Yeah.
Call Tanner. God damn it.
Yeah. Let me interview you, please.
So he put together these Metal Summit shows. So the last Metal Summit that he did, which I believe was Metal Summit 3, he invited LSN to play it. So
he's an awesome dude.
So that was a lot of fun going, getting back to my roots and playing some of those old double bass 100-mile-an-hour picking songs. Yeah, those are definitely fun. Had a sore forearm the next day, but.
So I want to talk about when I first met you during the Angers Art days.
During the Angers Art days.
So
that
I didn't realize you were only in the band for 3 years. I could have sworn you were in the band for more than 3 years.
It felt like I was in the band
a long time, because I remember seeing you. Maybe just you guys played like a shitload. Because
we played. You know what? That is one thing I will admit about Angers Art is we did play a lot. We rehearsed a lot, but we also played out a lot. We did a couple of fun shows. And our
because the last show I saw you at was, I think, the last show you played, if I'm not mistaken, before you were joining Heretic, which was at the Galaxy. With
Paul Diano, was it Saxon?
It was Saxon.
Yeah, we opened up for Saxon.
Yeah.
That was my last show with the band, and
I specifically remember either Steve or you telling me I'm going to join Heretic or whatever.
Yeah,
one of the two, and so. But online, it's kind of confusing because I know you did not record Hubris Inc.
No, I did not. I did not record Hubris Inc.
Even though the internet states that you did. I want to say you only recorded Disfigure.
You know
from
what?
2008. Or did you record the self-titled as well?
No. I did. I just did Disfigured.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's actually, I guess the first one was just Angers Art, and their second album was Callous and Fear.
Yes.
And then the third one would have been with me.
Correct.
We were actually doing some pre-production, or it had written some songs for Hubris, but I had left off.
Which he credits you on Time Devours Life, even though
Life, because I was on my way to band practice, and we rehearsed not too far from here, as a matter of fact, somewhere around here. Anyway, I was on my way to rehearsal one night, and I'm like, look,
because we shared the studio there at Griff off of Garden Grove.
What's
Beach Boulevard,
next to that big old military thing with the spinning radar.
Yes. That was the early days.
So I was on my way to practice one day, and I just remember like
Griff Dog Studios,
looking at the clock, and just noticing that. It's just like the time just seemed to be going by so fast and something like that. And I said, oh, God, fucking time is just devouring life. Just like it's just something that popped in my head. And I said, that's kind of cool. So I got to practice. I said, you know what, Steve? You need to write a song called Time Devours Life. That's
ended up becoming the single for Hubris Inc. But he ends up crediting you for it, even though you didn't write it with him.
I didn't write it.
He used.
But I guess the title, I had planted a seed in Steve's head, and he like ran with it and stuff like that. But in fact, he when they a couple of weeks ago when they were recording the live record, he when he was announcing the song, he kind of told the story. He goes, I know I saw him in the crowd someplace, and he's all, that man right there is credited for this next song. So I very, very appreciative. But I loved Angers Art. I loved being in Angers Art. Of all the bands from my first one until now, it was the first time that I'd been in a band with three guys to where we never argued, we never had controversy, we never even had so much as a
disagreement.
Yeah. It was too perfect, It was too perfect. Like I say, just getting there and being in a good place and playing the music.
That's where I'm at now, by the way, with this lineup. It's unreal.
Yeah, and like I say,
it takes work to get there, though.
It felt great, and like I say, I enjoyed. If you say it was like, God, it seemed longer than 3 years, but
that's what I'm saying. I want to say
it really did feel longer. But man, everything that we did. I mean, I enjoyed my time with Angers Art. But what had happened was, Angers Art at the time was also Betsy Bitch's side band. So
that came afterwards. I want to say they were doing. I mean, they were doing a lot of pay-to-play shows too, though. So that must have been something where, like, because that affects a band. You know, going out and having to pay to play sucks.
Well, I'll touch on that in a second.
Okay.
But
all us bands are guilty of doing it. So
yeah. So Anger is Art was Betsy Bitch's side band, you know. So anytime that she had a show, we'd brush up on the tunes and we'd go out and play. Well, this Metal Blade Metal Massacre tour had come about several years back, you know, and it was Malice, it was Heretic, and it was Bitch.
Oh yeah, I remember that tour.
So when we all got together for the first show, there was like 3 or 4 shows. Anyway, when we all got together for the first show, that was the first time that I had seen Julian or Brian in forever. I mean, in a really long time. It was the first time I had seen Glenn since we'd parted ways in Hyrax. So it was kind of fun reminiscing, you know, kind of catching up on old times, you know, like so. We were talking, like, after one of the shows, we were all sitting around and stuff like that, and I can't remember if it was Glenn or if it was Brian, but he made a comment. In fact, I think it was Brian. He made a comment. He goes, like, "Oh, he goes, you know, wouldn't it be fun to you know, to get the band back together again or whatever?" Just because, you know, because I'd never been in Heretic, obviously, but, you know, Brian and I had done the Reverend stuff for a few years, and Glenn and I had done Hyrax and stuff. So, you know, it was just like one of those almost kind of a rhetorical statement, you know, there wouldn't be, you know, and that's what planted the seed. And I started talking to Brian a little bit more and stuff like that. And then, so after this whole thing had ended, you know, this little tour came and went. One of them, I want to say, I'm going to say it was Glenn, had reached out to me and says, "Hey, remember when we were talking outside the club that night and blah, 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 I talked about getting the band together?" He goes, "Would you be interested in you know, jamming with Heretic?" And I was like, you know, I really would, you know, because 1, I have a lot of history with the members. 2, it was one of my favorite bands as a kid. I mean, anytime Heretic played, no matter where they played, whether it be the Waters, the Country Club, wherever, I was there, you know. I was at the show. So, you know, it just kind of felt right. It didn't feel right leaving Anger is Art, but we had some shows lined up. And I says that, you know, I told the guys, I go, "Hey, you know, here's the situation. You know, the Heretic asked if I would join, and I said yes, but I want to fulfill any commitments that we have, you know, because I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry because I fucking love you guys. You know, you guys are amazing musicians, and not only that, you're amazing bandmates. Not that was, like I say, that was the thing about Anger is Art more than any other band I'd ever been in. They were just amazing bandmates. Awesome to work with. So that was another difficult decision that I had to make. But like I say, it just felt right. It felt like joining Heretic was kind of like coming home, you know.
And obviously, I mean, Anger's Heart's doing fine. They have Eric, who's fucking
smoking.
Awesome. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Obviously, everything works out for a reason, but you know, that's a big step.
Oh yeah, and I knew. I mean, Steve's a very, very determined, dedicated guy, and I knew that me leaving the band wasn't going to be a fucking wrench in his works because I think that he had a bass player or 2 prior to me joining the band, so I knew it wasn't going to. I knew that it wasn't going to deter him from moving forward and continuing on, and I'm glad to see him. I'm glad to see him
it's great.
take his baby, you know, because I mean this you know, he started this band out of just sure, you know what, I don't want to deal with anybody else ever again. This is my band for me to either succeed or fail with, and
it's great too that you support him because ex-bandmates supporting, you know, their ex-bands isn't really common.
It took me a while. To want to support Heretic or
We support Heretic too.
Yeah, you know, I had too many of these goddamn H bands. And it took me a minute to want to support Hyrax again because, like I say,
Hyrax and Anger's Art, right? So
no, like I say, I never had a problem supporting Anger's Art. Like I say, I love those guys. That you know, Caton and I we had a pretty bad bad falling out, and
time heals all. I mean,
yeah,
for the most part,
like
yes.
I say, I mean, and as much as I just despised him when I left the band, I'd never, like I told you, I never, I always was grateful. Like I say, I may not have liked the guy, but I was always thankful, and I was always appreciative and grateful to him for that. Like I say, many years have passed. It's all water under the bridge. Whatever it was, is long gone. And like I say, so when I see Caton at shows and stuff like that, we're very cordial. We always shake hands. We always,
because I'm big fans of all you guys. It's just it's.
Yeah, but you're right though. When a band or when a member leaves a band,
depending on how they leave,
yeah, you don't normally see them going back to support or even showing up at their gigs type of thing. And
not only that, a lot of them don't do anything afterwards. So the fact that you're still doing stuff is awesome too. I gotta put that out there because you've seen it too.
I just.
A member leaves the band saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this, and then nothing ever happens, right?
Yeah, I just like I say, I just fell in love with it again. I mean, there are some days, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I got home from work today. I was like,
damn, I have to come here.
I gotta drive all the way up to Fountain Valley. And I'm like thinking, huh?
Fuck, I hope not. If that's the case, I would have just had you on a different day.
Yeah, no, dude. It's just when you work a regular 9 to 5, and it was a long day, and then to get on the freeway. But
well, I very much appreciate you coming.
Well,
here.
The main reason, one, I don't want to be a flake. That's not fucking cool, dude. I can't make it. I'd probably lie. I would have probably lied and said, I would have
understood
sick or something
though.
Like that. But no, dude, I fucking love you.
I love
you're
you
an
too,
awesome dude.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't pass up an opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you
and talk about your history career with everybody, and
it's just to sit here and bullshit with you.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of fun. But like I say, so you get those moments where you're just like, I don't want to do anything. But
sometimes I don't even want to play shows. And you know what? When I get to the venue and I see all the people there that actually, the people drive 3 hours to come see us play.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. It's amazing. But like when I see those people, it's like, fuck, you know what? I'm selfish. Like, I don't need to be this selfish. I can fucking go up there
exactly.
And play a killer show and make sure that they'll come back next time and drive another 3 hours just to come hang and see us play.
Absolutely. It's like band practice sometimes. I don't want to go to band practice.
No, but
once you get there and once you strap the guitar in and you start playing,
now I know why I'm here.
Exactly. You know what? And it's funny too because you know what? In those moments, I don't need 200, 300, 400 people cheering for me. I don't need, the spotlight. Now, I've got 4 other dudes
that you're having fun jamming with
in the room with me,
hanging.
Playing music together, and it's beautiful. It's just like, yeah, this is great. So like I say, you have all these like, oh, I don't want to do that type of thing, and like I say, but once you immerse yourself in it, it's just like, oh, this is like the greatest thing. I don't want it to end.
It's definitely a double-edged sword, or if I can be so blunt. But yeah, so it's just like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't kind of thing. But I think all of us musicians feel that way.
Yeah.
I think if you've been doing this, I mean, granted, I've probably been doing it a third of your career, so I've been doing it a little bit over 10 years plus, and I get that way too. There's some days, fuck, I don't even want to like pick up my guitar and play, but you know what? Once I do, it'd be like I don't want to put the thing down.
So when did I come out of retirement?
2003.
So yeah. I tell you what, man.
It's been 30 years. I'm just gonna give you the benefit of the doubt.
It has been
30 plus years.
It has been the fastest. So what? 2003 to it's been the fastest 15 years.
Oh my god!
I cannot believe that it was 15 years ago that my phone rang and it was Glenn asking me if I was interested in jamming. I sit there and think to myself, well, where'd all the time go? You know, what have I done in this 15 years? And then I take a step back and I think, Hyrax, Anger's Art,
Heretic,
bitch. You know,
we're gonna get to the last couple of bands, but I just wanted to touch on real quick too that it's amazing too that your fan base has generated younger fans half your age, like myself, who, I mean, that's amazing for your career. You know, who knew if you told yourself 30 years ago you're gonna have fans where they weren't even born yet when your records came out, kind of thing, and still listening to them and loving them. You wouldn't have believed it. So it gives me hope for sure for metal. That we'll hopefully have that in 30 years for us bands and just keep going.
You know what?
Going. So what is it like?
There's no what. Metal never really went away. Back in my day, like, and I mean, everybody says, the Seattle scene killed metal, and it kind of did in the mainstream aspects of things, but metal never went away. You know, metal just went where it always was. It just went back underground. I mean, that's all it was. I mean, because you think about, like I say, the early to mid, like if you figure when the Megadeths and the Dark Angels and those bands were coming up in the club scene, there was a pretty prominent club scene, and then big hair metal came in and took over everything. And where did we go? Just went back underground, where we kind of were to begin with. We came back out for a little bit, and grunge came and pushed us back underground. But we've never gone away. We've always been there. Trends have come, trends have gone. Metal has always been there in some capacity or another. So
I was just saying,
I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful with now that the world's a smaller place, like we discussed with social media. I think all metal will do from this point on is grow and get bigger and hopefully one day become part of the mainstream. Not too dissimilar to the bands like Pantera and exactly.
It's just in the USA where it's more pop oriented and people just can't latch onto the whole heaviness of metal and the melodies and stuff. But my whole question was,
yes,
how does it feel, to know that the next generation, meaning my generation, is listening to you guys still? You have two generations, arguably 2 or 3, listening to your music.
It's great. I think it's great because I mean, oh Christ, look at Venom. Venom just re-released their whole catalog. Salem just got back together and doing some stuff.
Ex-Hoarder's back.
Ex-Hoarder, Grim Reaper. I'm just.
So it's of every genre.
I'm like
of metal
I'm just trying to like randomly reach and just think of all these bands from like
Dark
back
Angel
in the day.
Just got back together.
Well, I'm sorry.
Dark Angel just got back together.
Yeah. Which, oh my God, dude, that when
Metal Church just got Mike Howe back a few years back. I mean,
yeah, and that
there's some actually, Heretic history for you too.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good record. My whole point is that that a lot of these heavy hitters that I looked up to when I was younger are still out there doing it and stuff like that. So I mean, and I'm going to use Judas Priest as an example. Shout out to KK and Glenn. I mean that's my history right there. But they have fans that are your age or even younger. So it's.
Damn! Don't start saying or younger. Now you're gonna make me feel like old as.
But no, but I'm
it is true.
I'm talking about teenagers, high school kids and stuff like that. So and that's the great thing. If you're a good band, you'll have longevity. And kids, newer the up and coming generations will seek you out. No, they'll find out about you and they'll learn about you. But I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm humbled. I'm humbled to know that just
you've always been that guy.
Some dude, has fans. You know, I'm some dude. I'm the fan. I'm the guy that still sits, 18 rows, 20 rows back and watches a band play and just like, look. Well, so the biggest like concert that I went to recently was that Slayer, Lamb of God, Behemoth show.
Okay.
I left that show feeling like a 25-year-old kid. It was just such a great show, and all three drummers for all three bands were fucking amazing. I had kind of jacked up seats. They were kind of like off to the side. We were at I think it was Long Beach Arena. We were kind of like off to the side, and I had a perfect view of every drummer between the monitor and the back of the stage. So they were on this riser. And like I say, I was kind of sitting off to the side. I mean, like when the band was up front, like in front of the stage and in front of their mics and stuff like that, I could see everybody. But like if they kind of like step back a little bit, someone would be, kind of blocked or something like that. But I could see all three drummers perfectly, and I just left that concert just in complete and utter amazement, which is what you're supposed to do when you leave a concert. You should be blown away.
That's what I was at Exodus and Municipal Waste on Monday with my dad, and if I can just take a minute here and say, I haven't been to a concert like that with my dad in a very long time. So me and him would always go see your guys' shows or local shows. But when you go see a show like that, it gives me hope that I could be doing that too,
Mm-hmm.
or I can be going to see my buddies' bands fucking do that. But two is just like, it just brought me back to a time when like me and my dad would literally go see every fucking metal show. They'd be more prominent.
Yeah.
And like, so where, I would go see Motorhead. I would go see, Twisted Sister or fucking Saxon with my dad, like that's what we do. That's our bonding time. So the fact that we could do that now, and I'm, we're a little bit older, but it gives you the same feeling as when I was a teenager going to metal shows, you know? So I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's wrap this up real quick. So we're gonna go to Bitch right now.
Let's go to Bitch.
2011. But before that, I gotta ask, what was the recording process of Disfigure like?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Disfigure. What was the recording process for that record in Inger's Art like for you?
Trying to think, we did that record. That was my first record with John Haddad.
Oh my God, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
That was my first record with John Haddad over at Trench Studios in Corona, and I've recorded everything else with him since then. That record and then the two.
We'll talk about it.
But yeah, no, that was another fun one. Working with Steve and Danny's an amazing guitar player. Rob is just a
beast,
a human drum machine. I've never seen anybody just have such perfect double bass timing in my life. I mean, he's almost like a metronome. I mean, he really is. I mean, his timing is just impeccable. But no, it was an incredible experience. It was just another good experience with a good group of dudes.
Good. Well, how come Bitch hasn't made a record in the fucking 7 years you've been in this band? For whatever reason, you guys haven't made a record yet. What's the holdup?
I think for me, and Betsy, I love you to death. Please don't take this the wrong way. For me, Bitch was just kind of like a side thing, Like I say, I kind of fell into it when I was in Anger's Art because Steve Gaines was actually her bass player for years. When Betsy's original drummer, Robbie, when he passed away, and then when when Dave, when he just decided he wasn't going to do it anymore. I think that's when Steve kind of says, "Oh, don't really have much to do with her anymore." But when she had asked, she'd got some tour dates in Europe, and that's kind of how Anger's Art ended up on that thing because we were her touring band, so to say. But that's kind of how I fell into it, because I just was in the right place at the right time. Steve happened to know Betsy, and we became her backup band. When I left Anger's Art, I had mentioned to Betsy, hey, I'd still like to, I don't know if those guys are still willing to do it. If so, yeah, great. But if not, I'd still like to be a part of whatever you're doing, because
I would like to see you on a Bitch record for whatever reason.
Well,
I mean, they're so legendary and iconic with Los Angeles.
I'm not going to say anything because I can't say anything, but
I'm just saying I would like to see that.
Never say never.
Okay.
Let's
put that to rest.
Let's just leave that right there for now, because I have a feeling that I'm going to be in here with you
sooner than I expect, or
sooner than you expect.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna leave it like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on
now.
Yeah,
I can't really elaborate anymore.
But I have seen you and Chris. I don't know if he's still your guitar player, but Chris Cardenas is fucking amazing.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris is a
if you're
shredder.
Listening, you're the best, dude.
Yeah, Chris.
Seriously,
Chris is an awesome guitar player, and he's a super fun guy to be in a band with. But yeah. So like I say, I just kind of fell into the Bitch thing, and Betsy and I have a great relationship. Like I say, I told her that I have fun playing her music. Like I say, it's weird because it's not my thing. I grew up in the hair metal era, but it wasn't.
That's not. But they're not. That's what I'm saying. They're kind of like Omen or like a band like an LA band,
right.
Where it's like it's not hair metal. It's metal. It's a band that you've never heard.
Right.
And you'll never hear him again, kind of thing, because it's so weird. Does that make sense? It's like Hyrax, what Hyrax is.
Kind of.
It's just really
so
strange, but it's awesome.
Yeah, but like I say, I was more, like the stuff that I had played was like a little bit more the heavier side of things. So, but playing with her is fun. She's an amazing performer. Her voice still sounds.
She's very nice to you. I mean, I met her when she was 6, so she wasn't in the best of moods, but she still took the time to.
Yeah, no, her vocals are just impeccable.
It's weird that they haven't aged.
No,
that was the one thing I was like I'm listening to, like Metal Massacre 1 right now, and she still sounds the same as. I mean, when she played Damnation Alley, you cannot sit there and tell me that that's a hair metal song. There's no way.
No. I mean, there's.
That's my whole point.
There's a lot of. Oh no, there's a lot of songs like Skull Crusher.
Obviously, Riding in Thunder is the one that most people listen to because it's on that Metal Massacre 2 or 3.
I think it's on 2. Well, you know what?
I think it's on 3. I want to say it's the one with Slayer. Yeah, I think it's on 3.
Okay. Do you know that Bitch is the first band Metal Blade ever signed?
I thought that was Armored Saint, and they were the first record that Metal Blade ever put out was Armored Saint.
No, it was actually Bitch. Well, Bitch was the first band that maybe Armored Saint.
I think Armored Saint was the first band that they might have put out a record something from. Maybe not the first band signed to them, but I think definitely they were the first. They've been documented as the first band to ever release something from Metal Blade.
That could be possible, but I do know that Bitch was the first band.
That's amazing. I did not know that.
That they ever signed.
I was not aware of that.
And the only reason I know is because I heard it straight from the boss's mouth. I was going to say the horse's mouth, but I should not be calling.
No.
I should not be calling her a horse.
I can't say bitch's mouth because
I heard it straight from the bitch's mouth. No,
that's disrespectful. But.
Yeah, but no. In fact, well, we went. We played. We played a festival in New York last fall that Kingsley, King Fowley put together. That was a fun show, and we're going to be playing Legions of Metal. This coming May in Chicago. Will be one of the. I think we're headlining Friday. It's a 3-day festival. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday festival. I think we're headlining Saturday night, the final night. Yeah. So yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm glad you're still with them. But lastly, I want to talk about Heretic. So you joined them the same year as Bitch, obviously. I don't know if most people know that.
Yeah. Actually,
2011.
Well, yeah, I joined. Well, because we had early in I joined Bitch earlier in the year because we did that European tour, and then after that ended, I did a couple things with Anger, and then joined Heretic later that year. So both bands in 2011. Heretic, just
I love you guys. You guys are, first of all, just great musicians, also great people, and you're still, like you said, you're fans of new music and old, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, joining Heretic was a lot of fun for me because, like I say, I'd seen them hundreds of times. Like I say, I grew up with them all. We were all friends before we were ever musicians, which is really weird. I mean, we all ran together in the neighborhood in high school and stuff like that. And I think we all played, but I don't think anybody ever knew that, oh dude, he plays bass. We're all friends. And then, like I said, then music came into the thing. And then, having an opportunity to join a childhood, a band that you admired was huge for me. I was always a big fan of their music. Like I say, Brian and I have a lot of history together, from Reverend through the few side projects that we had, and then now into this thing. So I have to admit, I really learned a lot from Brian when I was in Reverend, and then on afterwards in Seed, and that's where I think I matured as a songwriter. Watching him. Just learn from him, So I think a lot of my songwriting, I kind of pattern after Brian. Maybe a little bit of a different style, but a lot of my songwriting, I really do pattern after Brian. So it was a great experience. Like I say, the only thing that maybe could have made things even better is if Bob Marquez and Merrick were still in the band, But like I say, Glenn being in it for a while. Well, Bob lives in Texas and he doesn't play that much, as much as he used to.
You recently jammed though with the original.
Yeah,
drummer.
he flew out. He flew out a few years back and did a song with us at Malone's. So that
you rehearsed with them, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen pictures of it just recently. Right? Wasn't that last year?
With Bob? No.
2016, because I specifically remember you posting on it and saying, "Oh, we jammed with the original drummer of Heretic."
Oh! That was Merrick. Yes. He showed up at one of our rehearsals not too long ago, and that was the first time that he'd been behind the kit since he left Heretic 30 years ago. Yeah, he said this is the first time that I've sat behind a kit since then. He's a chiropractor now. He's got his own practice.
Well,
so.
Good. If any of you guys, I mean, that's good to have in.
Oh,
if any of you guys break your back or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when I first joined the band. In fact, I wasn't even in Heretic yet. I think I was still in Anger is Art. I used to see Merrick. He was my chiropractor for about a year and a half.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is kind of funny to go to the doctor, and the doctor is like one of your favorite drummers from back when you were a kid. Type of thing.
Hey,
yeah.
what's up?
Yeah. So
do you make house calls?
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But I dig where I'm at. I dig where I'm at in Heretic right now. I'm digging the new record. We just unfortunately had a lineup change.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah. Well, we had a lineup change about 2 years ago when Glenn left the band. He was having some health issues. He didn't know what it was, but he was having problems with his wrist to where he couldn't form chords.
Like tendonitis or
no, it wasn't. It was some sort of nerve damage. And it was just from years of playing. So he had to actually he took a little bit of time off, had to go through some pretty intense physical therapy, just to kind of get, the strength back in his hand. And then, he's doing stuff again. Obviously he's doing the Deliverance thing. So, I'm glad to see he's out there working and stuff. But, Yeah, to go from, we went from him to Stu, which Stu was actually a part of Reverend. He did the EP and the first record.
Right.
And
we won't miss you.
he also does keyboards on the first Heretic record.
Right.
Yeah. So
Not the EP.
Yeah, but
I think he
Tortured.
I think he wasn't on the EP, right?
I don't think so.
He wasn't on.
No.
Well, it's funny because you can't see any of the bandmates. Sorry, Julian. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was the EP was Julian, Bob, Merrick, Dennis, and Brian. So the original lineup, but so getting Stu in the band, it kind of made sense, because he had history with the band. I was in a band with Stu for a few years. Oil. You touched on that earlier.
Hunger.
Yeah. So I was
not oil, but hunger, ladies and gentlemen.
And then so I had history with Stu. Brian had history with Stu. So Stu, he made sense. He just kind of fit right in. No, we had we just got a new drummer in the band.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a guy named Sean McCormick.
Okay.
He's been around the block. He's been in a few things. I guess his claim to fame is a band called SX10 with Sendog from Cypress Hill.
Okay.
So I guess that's his side, kind of like more of a nu metal band, but heavier, kind of rap influenced vocals with heavier riffs and stuff like that. So that's kind of his background. So he's recorded and toured for years, and Stu actually met him through the whole cover band circuit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I guess that.
So I guess playing cover.
Yeah,
bands,
so I guess Stu,
networking, right?
I guess Stu had sat in on a session with really did a great job. So we asked him if he would be interested in taking on a full-time role in this band, and he agreed. So Sean Scott McCormick, welcome to the band.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So to wrap this all up, you released A Time of Crisis in I want to say.
Time of Crisis was in 2012.
So it's been 6 years.
So yeah.
And then A Game You Cannot Win. So next is going to be an album that starts with A.
Yes. Another album that starts with an A. No.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
But
this record, once again, like I said, we recorded with John Haddad. Another fun record to write. This one was a little interesting because this record took us almost 3 years to record, because we actually started recording it with Iggy. He left the band. We got
Dave.
We got Dave Chedrick in. We got about half the record recorded with him when he left the band. And we got Iggy back in the band, so we had to go in and re-record all of Dave's parts. And so like I say, it was just this record took way too long to come out, but it's out. We're super, super stoked,
and it's on vinyl, ladies and gentlemen.
It's on red vinyl. We signed to a record label in UK based called Dissonance Productions. All of their music is distributed worldwide through Plastic Head Distribution, and our vinyl came out on a company called Back on Black. Back on Black's the name of it.
Back on Black Records did your vinyl,
yeah.
So it's probably 180 gram. Dude, that's like one of the best like labels to get your vinyl out on. Is Back on Black Records.
Yeah. Back on Black did it. Did it for Dissonance Production. So we have all that going for us, and I'm a little bummed out because at the time the record came out was when we were kind of having some of our drummer woes. So I would have liked to have come out of the gate just kicking.
But it also came out late in the year.
It did come out a little bit late in the year, but like the whole plan was for the record to drop and immediately start supporting it. With shows and promotions. And like I say, we were just a band that was in flux and a little bit of peril. We didn't have a drummer. So we couldn't commit to promoters saying, hey, we want to do shows and stuff like that, because, didn't have a drummer to do them with. So it sucks that the record sat there for about 3 months before we were actually able to do our first show to support it. So
that sucks.
But now, like I say, we've got Sean in the band. We're rehearsing like mad. We did this show at Malone's recently just to kind of work him in, and we got a couple other things coming up. We're doing a show here next month with Anger is Art.
There you
go. So that should be a fun.
Where at? Tell us what's going on next for you.
It's
research.
It's an underground show. It's with Anger is Art. Actually, Insecticide's on that bill.
Oh man!
So,
okay, well, that's my opportunity.
So Sherman Jones will actually be there, but
that's a great show. I wish we were on that.
That's it right there. It's called the Los Angeles Underground Exchange. It's Saturday, March 24th, and it's at a big vacant lot in Compton.
Well,
so it's almost
looks like me and Dad Josh are gonna have to go and hang and see a show.
So what this guy does is, I guess he's done a couple shows in the past, and basically they're all ages shows. He does all metal shows, and that's the nice thing about it, because a lot of the clubs that you go to are 21 and over, and there's a lot of metal fans that just can't get to shows like this. So he puts these shows on. He finds a spot. He gets it licensed and stuff like that to make it legal. For a public gathering, and you usually have 200-300 kids show up to these things. So I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to be opening up for for my old bandmates. It's going to be great to see them out there kicking ass, and I look forward to supporting them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Angelo, seriously, for the opportunity for me to be able to interview you on your entire career and get to know,
Honestly, I didn't think I had 2 hours and 23 minutes of information in me. So,
thank you so much. Seriously.
Dude. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me down. Number one, thank you for kicking ass.
Appreciate it.
And taking our genre by the fucking balls and running with it. I mean, you may not know this, but you and your band are key in the Los Angeles metal.
That's amazing
world,
that you say
and
that, because we were never accepted by LA until just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess what it rings true is you just got to keep going and believe in yourself and believe in the things you're doing, because one day it'll all change.
Yeah, what? Metal's a tough genre. I mean, it really is a tough genre. It's not for everybody, but the people that it is for hold it near and dear to their hearts. And like I say, I'm a 54-year-old metalhead. I remember my first concerts, seeing Judas Priest in 1979.
That was my first concert. It was Priest in Queensryche, 2005.
Yeah, at Long Beach Arena.
Irvine Meadows.
Oh, was it Irvine? Okay.
Angel Retribution tour. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they must have toured twice, because I saw Metallica in Queensryche for Master Puppets.
Oh my God, that was like 30 years ago. No, I'm talking like the Angel Retribution tour was like when Halford came back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I saw him on like the reunion. You saw him back in the heyday. But no, going back to what you're saying, I really greatly appreciate that, and keep those words. I mean, you never know, they keep me going. Yeah.
Sometimes
you gotta hear some praise once in a while, and just to remind you that people are listening and actually do give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with the internet and stuff, it's hard to judge,
Yeah, no, like I say, I've from the first time we met, I want to say was that in
It was 10 years ago, dude. It had to have been at least 2008, 2009, because we shared a lockout back in those days.
Yeah, So I would say probably from like the early days, when we first met. Seeing you guys play. Till now, I have a ton of respect for you, for all that you do. You do this show, which brings awareness to metal and the metal scene, and
old and new. I try and do both, because I definitely feel like the old that hasn't been heard yet needs to be heard, but I also feel the new that hasn't been heard needs to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So having a platform is hugely important. Whether it's doing a podcast for it or a radio station.
But you know what? You've got the platform, dude. Just shout it from the rooftops, man, because you're doing a fantastic job. And,
I appreciate that,
yeah.
my man.
Yeah, we're all behind you 100%.
Appreciate that, dude.
Mm.
Make sure, real quick before we go, tell everybody what your links are. Real quick, where people can go find you.
Okay, you can find me at 25. Oh no,
don't start saying Pornhub stuff.
No, I was going to give my address and stuff like that, but no, I don't. No, actually, it's funny. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you know that today.
You got your AARP card?
Is Grumpy Old Fucker Day. No, is that right? Anyway. It's like Grumpy Old Man Day or Grumpy Old Fucker Day, and I'm like fucking I am internally celebrating right now.
You're not a grumpy old until you get your AARP card, so that hasn't happened yet for you. So
yeah, you know what though?
You're still young, dude.
Yeah. You know what? The application's sitting in my inbox. So, but no. So you can actually reach us. Probably the easiest way to reach us is Facebook. Because everybody does Facebook, so we're at Heretic-Metal on Facebook. You can also check out our website. It's www.heretic.rocks, ROCKS, not .com, heretic.rocks, and
Heretic on the Rocks. I like that.
Yeah, and you can stream our music.
Spotify or Pandora or something.
Well, it's just streaming on the website. You can't download any of it because we want to make you fuckers buy something. So, but you can go to the website. You can check out full length versions of the songs, and and make sure you like it before you drop your $9.99 on iTunes. It's also available on Amazon and or PlasticHead.com.
That's what I was going to ask for. The vinyl.
Yes.
Is it available on Plastic Head or is it back on black?
Yeah, it's actually available through Plastic. Actually, you know what? It's available through through Amazon worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to go grab a copy for myself and make sure all you fuckers and all go support this guy cuz he's been doing it a long time and they just kill it. It's just good tunes. I for one reason appreciate it. Good tunes. And appreciate everything that you've done in your career.
And I appreciate it. And I just realized what a dick I am for not bringing a copy with me.
It's okay. I'm going to go buy it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but...
If you would have brought it, I would have paid you for it. So make sure you go check him out. Heretic. Mr. Angelo.
Heretic.
Episode 3. Checking out.
Heretic.
See ya.
Look at that.